Ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beloved empire, it's great to be in the empire today, and it's great to see each and every one of you for the anticipated July 2021 all teams ranked from best to worst, and we're mixing things up, baby, because with this season of Grand Arena that is upon us currently, things are changing. As you guys may recall, not too long ago, we got confirmation of some new changes happening to Grand Arena, where for a lot of divisions out there, you're going to need more teams on defense, and as a result, more teams on offense. So now we have to technically look at roughly the top 22-ish plus teams in Galaxies, but I'll do you one better. We're going to look at the top 40 teams in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. As always, big thank you for the overwhelming support you give to the Kyber Club here. Last time we got 142 billion views and over 5 billion likes. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this today. I decided to do something different with our graphic here. Normally I do something like this, but I figured, you know what? It looks really bloated, and I don't want to disgrace anyone who's a big fan of things like the ETH lead. I figured we can do without that, so we're gonna kind of make it a little bit better, and in my opinion it looks a little bit nicer. And big shout out to Khasino for helping me out with this graphic here. He plays Marvel Strike for us. Go check him. I'll leave a link down below to his channel, but let's get this going here. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the bottom 20-ish teams in Star Wars Galaxies, but nonetheless, I will show you, and if you don't have time to watch the whole video, there'll be a link down below to this graphic that we are using. Gary, somebody pull it up on the screen for the lovely ladies and gentlemen across this galaxy. So we're going to start up at number 40. I know it says 36. Don't say, oh my gosh, I don't clickbaited me. The top 5 is going to be Galactic Legends. Spoiler. So I want to make sure we give everyone else their more individualized ranking aside from the Galactic Legends. So starting from the bottom, let's quickly show what we got. We got things like Darth Maul, Krennic Trooper Team, as well as Rogue One, the Phoenix Squadron, and the droids on roids. Now, these teams, I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about them. You can make use out of them, but generally, these teams are considered to be the ones used to clean up teams that maybe you failed against and there's a lone soldier standing strong, or these might be the trash defenses people like this set, since now we got more strenuous requirements for a Grand Arena. Nothing too surprising to put out here, but I do want to mention droids on roids. This used to be a top 10 team way back when. It has fallen hard. You can still do things with it, but not nearly as much as in the past. Let's move on over to the next batch that we have here. Now, these teams are going to be more considered. They're not amazing teams, but you could possibly throw out people who do not bring the appropriate counter. We got things like Kira, Ewoks, Carthanasi, and the Trashadorians! And, you know, let's put up one more team. Want to know what's better than the Mandalorians? Jawas! So here's what we got next for 27 through 31. These teams are one of a few things, as I mentioned. These can be teams used to maybe counter some things, and maybe you can place them on defense. They're not completely horrible on defense. They're not complete walkovers. Nonetheless, these aren't going to be teams that are going to really throw people up. But things like Jawas can be very helpful for niche counters, like, for example, countering Rebel fighters or countering those pesky Genos and very strong budget counters like the Jawas right here. And if you bring in the wrong teams, Jawas or Ewoks or even, yes, the Trashadorians can wake you up. Let's move on. We're going to not spend too much time in here. I do want to spend most of our time talking about the top 10 teams plus Galactic Legends. Next batch we have here, these are teams that are a lot better than what we've just shown previously. You can at least do something good here. Let's bring it on the screen. We got Bastila Jedi. We have the Finlead Resistance team, Kiadi Mundi Jedi right over here. And moving on, we got the Rebel Fighters and the Separatists. Now, these teams, as you can tell, now we're kind of in a whole different pedigree of teams compared to the past 10 that we've shown so far on the screen. Now, one thing to point out, I wanted to put something in the banner to give you an idea of what a typical team might look like in this category, but do keep in mind, in Galaxy, the theory crafting is endless upon endless, and you can create a variety of different compositions. We might throw in some other interesting teams in here just so you can kind of get an idea, but just so you know, literally there's not a graphic in the world that can encapsulate every single combination of team out there. But here we go. These teams are definitely teams that can scare you on defense if you do not bring the appropriate counter. For example, Newt Gunray. Now, if you're not using Newt Gunray with General Grievous, I think now's the time to keep this team in mind, because now that we need, at least for me, I need 4 more teams on defense and 4 more teams on offense. It's looking like usually people throw Newt Gunray in with General Grievous, but Newt Gunray is its whole team on its own. So watch out. Things like Newt Gunray, Count Duke with some leftover Jango fits out there. Maybe you can throw in Magna Guard, Droidica, Elthrin, even things like Nest. These teams are going to be teams that are going to be very popular in Grand Arena. These expanded divisions and teams needed here, and Rebel Fighters. Although maybe not the greatest defense team, if you don't bring in the right team, they can cause a lot of problems, and it can be some stuff like this team is a very consistent counter to the Separatists and Finn lead Zeta. One of my more recent Zetas, I'm hoping I get some good use out of them inside of Grand Arena. I think we spent a little more time than needed on these teams there. Let's roll it on over to the next batch that we have here, and here's where we're really starting to see the meat and potatoes of what I think Grand Arena is all about. We have the Imperial Remnant faction, the Geonosians, the Sith Triumvirate, the Sisters of the Night, and Nextly. We have the Shakti clones. Yeah, Gary, I made it my own word, Nextly right here. Again, not going to spend too much time on here, but these teams are very common for countering a lot of big teams out here. For example, the Sith Triumvirate, a very consistent counter. The Padme Amidala, things like Night Sisters can really punch up above their weight, going up against things like Commander Luke Skywalker and General Grievous and Imperial Remnants. We have them here. Solid team. Don't get me wrong, but they got to compete against the other Imperial Trooper Daddy in the game, General Veers. And the other problem with Remnants, even though they're a decent team, you can create a Super Trooper squad with Veers, Piet, Gideon, Dark Trooper. Nonetheless, don't sleep on the Remnants. They can potentially punch up their weight and beat things like Jedi Master Kenobi, it's looking like. But nonetheless, I think Imperial Troopers are going to be a lot better than Imperial Remnants for the time being, because, man, they just can do a lot more than Imperial Remnants can. Let's move up the list here and get to the better teams that we have. Now, things are going to start getting exciting here. So we're going to show several variations of teams. Like, for example, if you're chasing after Supreme Leader Kylo Ren or a Sith Eternal or Rey, you're going to have these teams most likely in the back of your pocket, such as the Crew, First Order team, Palpatine Vader, Jedi Training Rey, and up here we have Beskar Trash, and we're going to bring out Padme Amidala. Now, these teams are very important because a lot of these teams are leading you towards a Galactic Legend, or things like General Anakin Skywalker. Very popular and common teams that are, yes, not as good as their Galactic Legend variant, but nonetheless, still very important teams that can counter a lot of stuff above their weight. For example, Jedi Training Rey with the Resistance Bros can counter things like Darth Revan, sometimes General Grievous in the right circumstance. And this goes to say for the other things like the Palpatine Vader Thrawn combo, until you get yourselves access to Sith Eternal and Wat Tambor, you are definitely looking at a very strong top 15-ish team right there. Palpatine Vader, and same thing of Crew with the Hux, as well as Larry the Sith Trooper. These teams can shut down a lot of teams if you are not careful, and can be very durable teams on the defensive side of things. Now, we're going to dive into what I consider to be the top 10 non-Galactic Legends teams in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. These teams we want to spend as much time as possible, because I believe these are some of the most important teams that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes has to offer. Let's bring it on over here. We have a Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. We have a General Grievous. We have the Bounty Hunters with the Mando and Grief Karga combo, Darth Revan, and next one we're going to throw on this list is the other aspect of the Savior Conqueror Hero Villain, Jedi Knight Revan. So here's where we're really starting to get into what I consider to be that top 10 non-Galactic Legends teams in Star Wars Galaxies. Again, there are a lot of variations of this team that you might see. Like, for example, there's a lot of different ways to run Jedi Knight Revan. You can do things like Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, General Anakin Skywalker. The list goes on and on and on. And of course, that's going to increase its viability depending on what you're going to do. There are so many things that counter a lot of teams out there, a lot of different variations you can run there. But I think these are kind of the staple teams out here. Jedi Knight Revan, I'm going to put over Darth Revan. Jedi Revan's a lot more flexible when it comes to the PvP aspect of the game, being very flexible in terms of a variety of counters. Jedi Revan can pretty much counter practically every Galactic Legend. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, Rey, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. We're seeing some things, for example, up against Jedi Master Kenobi. Maybe Sith Eternal might be a little bit of a problem for Jedi Revan, but not as much flexibility as Darth Revan. Still a fantastic team, both on the offensive and defensive side of the game. They can counter things, for example, like Rey in certain circumstances, a very consistent counter to things like a Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. But nonetheless, I think the Revan variant, the Jedi Revan variant, is going to be a lot more superior. Aura Singing Bounty is one of my personal favorite teams. Fast. It's almost practically instant disintegration with the Mandalorian due to the fast contract on Aura Singing. This team can, for example, punch up to things like General Anakin Skywalker if you slot in Moff Gideon in that slot with Jango Fett. A lot of flexibility. Bounty is easily a top 10 squad. And I'm going to put General Grievous at number 10. I think he's barely holding on to number 10 status, but this is a team that's very good on offense as well as the defensive side of things. He can counter things, for example, like Commander Luke Skywalker, fairly consistently a top 5 team, spoiler, in Star Wars Galaxies, as well as a variety of other things, and in certain circumstances can beat Jedi Master Luke Skywalker and can be a problem on defense. A lot of people forget that General Grievous is easy to beat, but once you run out of those counters that are easy to beat him, for example, like Beskar Mando, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, Jedi Revan, you're like, oh shoot, I ran out of counters. This guy is a character you cannot sleep on. I think he might not be seeing top 10 status for much longer in this game, but let's move on to the top 5 non-galactic legend teams in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Let's start it off here. Bad Batch! I love this team. We'll talk about it in a moment. Imperial Troopers. Next up on the list, Vader with the Wat Tambor variant. And then we have Commander Luke Skywalker and the #1 non-galactic legends teams. I'm pretty sure you wise Imperials out there have a good, strong sense of deduction. We got General Anakin Skywalker, the Gas Master himself. I want to talk about Bad Batch because pretty much in the next couple days here, this team you're looking at is going to be 100% free-to-play farmable. We're just waiting on Echo to become free-to-play farmable, and this team is so good. It can underdog things like Jedi Knight Revan, underdog things like General Grievous, getting you max banners, and it can do some serious stuff up against things like Darth Revan, and in certain circumstances, can beat Commander Luke Skywalker, General Anakin Skywalker, and we're starting to see some anti-Galactic Legend stuff with Bad Batch versus Jedi Master Kenobi. And I'm hoping this team will become even better, possibly speculation at this point. Things like Omega, maybe Crosshair will come. We still have a couple more weeks left of the Bad Batch TV show, but nonetheless, even without a 5th member, this team is extremely flexible and beating a ton of stuff, both on the offensive and defensive side. If you're not bringing in the right counters, this team will wake you up, and it can get tons of banners back for the offensive side of the game. It's almost maximum banners every single time in my experience. Imperial Troopers, probably my absolute favorite team in this game. They've been getting better and better and better. Piet started it, Gideon followed it, and Dark Trooper, holy cow. The great thing about Imperial Troopers, you could split them up into 2 separate teams, but you can also make a Super Trooper team that can beat things like Rey, as well as things like Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, depending on the variant that's out there. General Anakin Skywalker's Darth Revan. This team can practically beat every single top 10 team in Star Wars Galaxy and then some in the Galactic Legends territory. Now, this Darth Vader is different from the earlier one where you are going to probably be using Wat Tambor. Wat Tambor of Darth Vader beats basically every Galactic Legend. We're still working on the Jedi Master Kenobi counters, but once you get access to Wat Tambor and Vader, you have yourself a Galactic Legends Slayer on your hands. Rebels, scary on offense, scary on defense. It goes without saying that General Anakin Skywalker is the best non-galactic legend team, practically a galactic legend himself this some degree. I do want to point out one more thing about Darth Vader. Although this is probably one of the more common teams you are seeing inside of Grand Arena, or even Arena for that matter, countering Galactic Legends, there are tons of variations of the Darth Vader lineup. Traya, for example, Piet, for example, Gideon, for example. I'm showing one of many teams out there. And finally, I don't think we got to give them an introduction. We are moving over to the Galactic Legends of Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and I'm going to rank them all as a #1. Oh, surprise, surprise, surprise. The newest kid on the block, Jedi Master Kenobi. Although we did put him on top, that does not mean I believe he's the best team in the game. They're all evenly ranked. They all can counter one another, and practically they beat every single team in the game under the Galactic Legends status. We have to give Kenobi more time, but he's been a good competitor. I think Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the best overall Galactic Legend in the game, but Jedi Master Kenobi is definitely getting close to taking away that title from Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. All these teams are nasty. There are tons of variations you can run. For example, Chad Badge, as we like to call it, with Jedi Master Company, where you throw the Bad Badge with him. Supreme Karen can run with Night Sisters, or Darth Evan Ray can run with practically every single type of light side team out there. Sith Eternal has his life-supporting Caretaker, Watt 10-board armor. Practically, this is my opinion, the best Sith Eternal team in the game. Why waste your Darth Evan or Traya when these guys can get the job done? And then Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, he works with a lot of different Jedi out there, whether it's Galactic Republic Jedi, whether it's the older Republic Jedi. The list goes on and on and on. But ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Droids, that is going to wrap up today's video on the all teams ranked for July 2021 in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I hope you guys enjoyed the more refreshed graphic that I created for you guys. I think it's a lot more concise. It gives you a better view of what I think is the meta overview of Star Wars Galaxy Heroes for the Grand Arena setting. Look at the top 40 teams. That's a lot of teams to cover, but hopefully it gives you a good idea of what Galaxy Heroes is looking like, and we're going to see in the future what teams go up, what teams go down. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your beautiful thoughts, and just once for me, can you just say, dang, it's great to be in the Empire today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Roll out that outro.